South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south-of-the-border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Hi, I'm Kurt Angle. I represented the United States in the Olympics in 1996 and won a gold medal. Then I parlayed that into a pro wrestling career. I saw a commercial a few years ago.
Tunnel to Towers Foundation made a promise.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation is paying off the mortgages for Gold Star families with young children. I thought, this is really cool. I want to be a part of it. My dad served in the Army for 30 years. We didn't have a lot of money, but he made sure we had what we needed. He set a great example for all of us. He died in a construction accident my freshman year in high school. When he died, we didn't have any income coming in, and we ended up being forced to move out of our house. I was devastated. So I understand what these families are going through, and to have an organization like Tunnel to Towers come in and pick you up and carry you and give you a home to live in, I think that's just amazing. I'd like to ask you to donate $11 a month to support these efforts by going to t2t.org or calling 1-844-BRAVEST.
The following is a Race Day Las Vegas presentation in association with Siraco Productions Limited on the Race Day Las Vegas Radio Network.
Live from the gaming capital of the world, time for Race Day Las Vegas, covering the sport of kings with a Las Vegas perspective. Now to the race desk with your host, Ralph Siraco.
From the backstretch to the turf club, at the racebooks and on the internet. To all horse players around the world, a good morning.
Well, all righty then. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Race Day Las Vegas radio program. As you know, if you don't, we'll tell you, we come from the gaming capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, right here at the South Point Studios at the South Point Hotel Casino Complex on Las Vegas Boulevard in the gaming capital. And, of course, through the South Point Studios streaming network at YouTube. We welcome you to the show. And we welcome all of the folks listening to us on our anchor radio station here in town, Sports Talk 1400 AM, 107.1 FM, and then, of course, our websites, racedaylasvegas.com, .vegas.world, .global, iPhone, Android, Google phone with the apps. You know the deal. Go get the app. You can get the KSHP app. You can hear us through the radio station, YouTube app. Of course, you can see and hear us as well. And anywhere you get your podcasting. Simply put, however, wherever, whenever. Welcome to the Almost Friday, Thursday Race Day Las Vegas radio program. Hey, listen, weather is beautiful here in Las Vegas. 79 degrees outside already. It was just great walking through the parking lot here. No wind to deal with or anything else. 79. We're going to get up to 100 today, but as you know, you can say it with me. It's always fast, firm, and perfect in our race book here in Las Vegas at the South Point. And we welcome you to the show. The weather here is nice. Not so nice for some of the racing centers around the country today. On the going up towards the East Coast, there's rain that's happening. And, of course, there's rain a little bit in the parts of the Midwest and in the South along the Gulf of America between Mississippi and Alabama and Louisiana. But for the most part, it looks like the weather will be okay. However, we are getting reports that they'll be off the turf at Horseshoe, Indianapolis, and at Delaware Park today. That's the word we're getting right now, so we'll check on that. And they said that they might be off the turf at Woodbine today as well as we move through our racing menu. And the weather has taken its toll on a big day of racing that was supposed to be tomorrow night at Penn National. The word came out yesterday afternoon that the people at Penn National, the folks there at Penn National, in looking at the forecast, the weather forecast in the area where Penn National Racecourse is at in Pennsylvania, that the weather was going to be, well, I'll term it miserable. Okay? And so as a result of that, they have decided to postpone the 4 big stakes races that were scheduled for tomorrow night at Penn National. They include the Leafard, the Alphabet Soup, the Penn Oaks, and the $400,000 Grade 3 Penn Mile. Those 4 big races that were scheduled for tomorrow night at Penn National have been postponed. They are going to reschedule them for Friday night, June 20th. Friday night, June 20th. I think that's it's about 4 weeks from now. So they're going to reschedule it then due to the bad weather, the bad forecast, they say. In a precautionary measure, they're going to go ahead and reschedule those 4 stakes races, the big 4 stakes races from that were scheduled to go tomorrow night, rescheduled for June 20th. Now, that means that jockeys Flavian Pratt, John Velasquez, Jose and Ired Ortiz, Juan Hernandez, Paco Lopez, Javier Castellano, Frank Dettori, and Manny Franco can spend a little bit more time with their families tomorrow night because they won't be at the racetrack, or maybe pop some popcorn and watch a movie, but they won't be racing tomorrow night at Penn National. However, the other races that were scheduled for Penn National tomorrow night, the other races, the main track races, will be running. So that's the latest from Penn National. They won't be running on the 4 major stakes races, but they're going to try to salvage the rest of the card. And of course, I would imagine if the weather forecast really gets bad, that what they'll do is they'll probably cancel the rest of the races too. But for now, just those 4 races, okay? So that's looking at that. However, on Saturday, we're still all systems go for the big 6 stakes races at Churchill Downs. 5 of them are graded. They call it's the Stephen Foster Preview Day of Racing. Of course, the Stephen Foster Day of Racing will be at the end of June. But the preview day will be on Saturday, and they got some great stakes races, too. I'm interested very much in the stakes race that will pit the two big sprinters, Skelly and World Record, going against each other at Churchill. And, of course, Mystic Dan, your winner of the Kentucky Derby a couple of years ago, he's going to be running as well on Saturday there at Churchill Downs. Jonathan Ardoon is now not under the weather, but above the weather today. So he will be back with us, thankfully. And we'll go over those 6 stakes races at Churchill Downs while we have time to do so today with Jonathan. And we'll take a look, of course, at those 6 stakes races at Churchill. It's going to be a fun day. As far as the temperatures are concerned around the country, you know how nice it is here. Miami is 88. New York is 73 degrees. Probably going to start raining there soon, if not already. But it doesn't matter. There's no racing in New York in the city for a long time, for at least 3 or 4 weeks. We know that Saratoga is going to get ready for the Belmont Festival of Racing come on Wednesday. But for now, no racing, major racing in New York. Of course, they have Finger Lakes up there in upstate New York. Chicago is 72 degrees with partly sunny skies there. Southern California, where there's no racing there today either, is at 78 degrees. And although we will reach 100 degrees today, they say maybe 101 today in Las Vegas. We are the hottest spot in the nation forecast to be today because Phoenix, Arizona is only going to get to 99. So how about that? All right. So that's kind of like the weather around the country. We want to welcome all of those folks, and there's a ton of them that are here playing in the 56th World Series of Poker. And if you've ever seen this event, it's worth the price of admission just to walk in and watch all these guys. These are a mix from the greatest poker players in the world to a regular guy that wants to buy in and try his chances in the World Series of Poker. Millions of dollars up for grabs there. So we welcome all of our poker friends because it is known that a lot of the poker players love to play the horses as well. As a matter of fact, in the early days when they had the poker rooms at the casinos here in the early days were always adjacent to or in line of sight to the race books here, as they are here in Las Vegas. The big poker room we have here at the South Point, you can see the big screens at the race book because the poker players like to play the races as well. So we welcome them to Las Vegas for the 56th annual World Series of Poker. And it's quite an event, that's for sure. Want to congratulate trainer Steve Asmussen. He's going to be honored in the Texas Thoroughbred Association Lifetime Achievement Award. It is called the T.I. Pops Harkins Award, and he is going to be honored with that. He'll be presented with that Achievement Award, Steve Asmussen in Texas. So we want to congratulate him there as well. All right. Well, we got Jonathan Ardoon, Rich Eng, John Lindo, and Jerry J, of course, will be along with us for a thought or two. And we're going to take a look at those 6 races at Churchill Downs on Saturday. It's going to be a lot of fun there. So we're going to get started early with our first break because I want to get right to those races with Jonathan Ardoon. So without any further ado, we got our handicappers standing by. And, of course, your racing menu, which will be next. So as they continue their morning activities around the country at the racetracks, we'll be back with more our morning activity here in Las Vegas. Don't go away.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Okay, back on Race Day Las Vegas. I do want to mention one more thing, though. You know, this world is getting smaller and smaller with all the satellite, communications we have now and all that stuff there, and horses that are shipping to Europe and back and forth, etc. And the betting is also maturing as well across the lines of limitation. Now, you remember when they started, of course, the coast-to-coast pick 5 and the Eastern pick 5 with one track against the other and all that stuff. And then when the Breeders' Cup come up, the Breeders' Cup doubles from one day to the next, etc. They're doing that, of course, remember, with the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks. They did that day by day. Well, now, come next Saturday, not this coming Saturday, but next Saturday, for the Belmont Stakes, they are pushing that envelope again. Here's the deal. They're going to have a daily double from the Epsom Derby at Epsom Racecourse in Europe to the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga. Now, this action begins at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. I'm sorry, Eastern time, which is 7:30 our time. The Epsom Derby is going to run 7:30 our time 1 week from Saturday. You'll be able to make a daily double bet from the Epsom Derby in England to the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga here in America. So that'll go 7:30 a.m. Pacific time. And then, of course, the Belmont Stakes will be at around 4 o'clock Pacific time. So there's a new Epsom Derby Belmont Stakes daily double that will be presented. So they're pushing the parameters of limitations. I guess that's okay. That's good stuff. All right. And by the way, they're still working out the arrangements to see if they can get the Epsom Derby on Fox TV, because obviously if they're going to bet it, you got to be able to watch it somewhere. And so they're still working on that right now with Fox Television. Okay, it's time to get started with our racing menu for today. Reminding you, as we always do, the first post times we broadcast on this racing menu each and every day reflect that of the Pacific time zone, because that's where we're at here in the Pacific time zone. So if you're listening here in the Pacific time zone and you're going to come on out to the South Point to play the races, these will be the first post times that roll out in the race books today. If not, if you're somewhere else in another time zone, and we've got them all over the world, the way our broadcasting is going, talking about technology, we're around the world here with the Race Day show. So if you're in another time zone, anywhere you are, just adjust that time zone to the Pacific time zone. You'll tweak it up, and this way you'll be right where you're at and you won't miss anything like I miss Mom and Dad, okay? We begin with Delaware Park. Delaware Park off the turf today. Their 5th and 7th races, the third, 5th, and 7th races at Delaware were scheduled for the turf. They say they're off now. So you have 8 races today at Delaware Park and a first post time of 9:35 at Delaware Park. Gulfstream Park has 9 races today. Gulfstream Park has their Super High 5 carryover there. They got a Super High 5 carryover of $15,822. $15,822. Remember that they had that mandatory payoff in their jackpot pick 6 over the weekend, so they're starting that anew. But they do have a Super High 5 carryover, $15,822, and a first post time for 9 races at Gulfstream set at 9:50 at Gulfstream. Horseshoe Indianapolis off the turf there. That means races 1, 3, 5, and 7. First, third, 5th, and 7th races that were scheduled for the turf now on the main track. They have 9 races at Horseshoe Indianapolis today. And with 8 of them being thoroughbreds, the final race will be quarter horses. First post time is 1:10 at Horseshoe Indianapolis today. Woodbine Racecourse is next, north of the border. They say that they may come off the turf at Woodbine as well. That'll mean the 3rd and the 8th races today at Woodbine will be transferred from the turf to their synthetic racetrack there. So the 3rd and 8th off the turf at Woodbine. 8 races today at Woodbine. They've got a super high 5 jackpot carryover of $22,132. They've got a pick 6 jackpot carryover of $23,352. And they have a first post time of 12 high noon Pacific time for their 8 races today at Woodbine. Hawthorne Racecourse has 8 races. Hawthorne has a first post time of 12:40 at Hawthorne in Chicago. Of course, that's 12:40 Pacific time. Churchill Downs has a twilight card again today at Churchill Downs. They have 8 races at Churchill. Their pick 6 jackpot carryover, $49,397. $49,397 in their carryover in their pick 6 jackpot. They have 8 races today at Churchill and a first post time of 2 p.m. Pacific time. A little twilight card there for this Thursday, as always, at Churchill Downs. Penn National, well, they got 7 races today, and they're a go today at Penn National. First post time is 2:45 at Penn National for today. Evangeline Downs has 8 races. Their first post time is 3:30 at Evangeline Downs. And we wrap it up with Charlestown. Charlestown has 8 races. They've got a pick 6 jackpot carryover of $11,816. That's their pick 6 jackpot carryover. But they also have a regular pick 5 carryover, not a jackpot, a regular pick 5 carryover. That's $38,308. Pick 5 today at Charlestown. $38,308 in their pick 5 carryover at Charlestown. First post time for their 8 races is at 4 p.m. That'll mean the 4th race will start that pick 5. Well, the late pick 5 anyhow. But in any case, their pick 5 carryover, $38,308. First post time, 4 p.m. And that is the racing menu for today. Let's get out to Jonathan Ardoon. First of all, Jonathan, we're glad to see you're above the weather this morning.
Yeah, Ralph, thanks. I got hit pretty good, but I'm back and ready to go. By the way, Ralph, how ridiculous. Do they really need the Epsom Derby to the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga? And you got to wait 12 hours to find out if you hit the double. It's ridiculous.
Not to mention the fact, Jonathan, that Belmont Stakes Day is loaded with stakes races.
And have enough.
An abundance of pick 5s, pick 4s, rolling doubles, and everything else. You know, it's just like, I don't know.
Not only that, who the hell's going to bet it if you can't even watch the race? They're hoping to get it on Fox. If they don't get it on Fox, the handle will be a big fat donut. Honestly,
I will say that's probably for the the regular television coverage. I got to think that it'll at least be simulcast to the racetrack if you can make the bet there. You got to think that.
You would think so, but it's just crazy. I mean, again, they have so many bets. Sometimes less is more. You know, they think there's any interest in that bet. I don't think so. And like you said, Ralph, they're going to have bets from Friday into Saturday. And now, whatever. We'll see.
Well, we will see. At least, go ahead and give it a try. Let's see what happens. But I personally will not be participating. Not because I
don't know anyone that will, Ralph.
If I had a horse that I knew was a cinch in the Epsom Derby, I would. But I don't even know who's running in the race. And of course, I'm sure that they'll have forms and all that for them out there. I would think it's a bigger headache for the daily racing form than anything else.
They're not happy about it. Believe me, they don't want it. Yeah. It's just not worth it to them. I wouldn't think so, but who knows?
So in any case, with the you off yesterday, re-energizing yourself, so to speak, we have some great races coming up at Churchill Downs on Saturday, and of course there's 6 races to go at Churchill Downs on Saturday. We're going to take a thumbnail look at that, and we'll start off with the Aristides. I would imagine that's a Grade 3. Aristides, by the way, is the name of the first horse that ever won the Kentucky Derby back in 1875. But unfortunately, this race is not at 1.25 miles. This is a 6
And
furlong.
it's not run on Derby Day either. They could have run it on Derby Day.
Yeah, it's and it's not for 3-year-olds either. The Aristides is at 6 furlongs on the dirt for 4-year-olds and up. So go figure. Yes, you okay there, Brian?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Now we have 7 horses in that race, but this is going to be a good race. This is the one I'm talking about that has Skelly in it. Steve Asmussen's sprinter. Ricardo Santana will ride again. 7-5 on the morning line. And world record, this Gunrunner offspring that Rudolph Brissett trains, Flavien Prat's going to ride. And I just want to see these 2 horses hook up.
They're going to go pretty fast early, Ralph. I'll tell you, off the figure, Skelly ran just a huge figure last time out. He actually ran a 0 on the sheets. You don't see that often. And if you run off of that, you're going to be very tough. If he don't, but again, world record's going to throw it down with Flavien Prat. Brad Cox has Giant Mischief in there, but the race goes through Skelly. He's in unbelievable form now at the age of 6. You don't see that often, but that's the case.
Well, and then let me ask you this, though. We're talking about, the races at Churchill Downs. Now, we know Skelly is just great at Oaklawn, but how does he fare? How does he fare over the Churchill track?
Well, he's got 4 starts with a win in 3 seconds.
There you go.
So obviously, yeah, I mean, it's not like he doesn't show up. He's got 21 lifetime starts, and he's run off the board, I think, twice in his life. So, he's a pretty serious horse, Ralph, and he shows up and he runs very, very well. But his best races so far have been at Oaklawn. There's no question about that.
Okay, and that's the 6th race on the card. That'll be the first of the stakes races on Saturday. There is a field of 7 in there, and besides those 2 going down, I guess the only other horse in the race that the morning line maker gives any justice to is Giant Mischief. Irad's going to ride for Brad Cox.
Yeah, that doesn't happen too often, but he is over here, and it's going to be interesting. Maybe like Manny Franco, for example, rode Giant Mischief last time out, and he was scheduled to ride at Penn National tomorrow night. So maybe that's why some of these guys who usually ride horses that are running on Saturday passed, because I don't think they would have been able to get there from Penn National Friday night to get to Churchill the following day. So don't look too much into it. But listen, obviously, Irad riding for anybody is a big deal.
Well, I guess those jocks that were supposed to be there Friday night can just sit in front of the TV set and watch other guys ride their horses. So we will wait.
But Flavien Prat's going to be there because he's riding world record for Rudolph Brissett.
So maybe, so maybe they ought to. So maybe they should have caught the plane that Flavien's going to catch.
Exactly.
In any case, the Audubon is next on the card. It's going to be the 7th race, and they have a field of 8 entered for that. $275,000, a mile and an eighth on the turf. And in this race, the morning line is more suggestive of a wide open event. As a matter of fact, the morning line favorite 3-1 is Early Adopter with Chad Brown, Flavien Prat breaking from the 8 hole.
Yeah, you have horses in this race that are eligible to run in non-winners of one other than, and then stepping right into a stake race. So it shows you how really evenly matched this group was. I gave a slight edge to the 6 World Beater, but again, it's a wide open event.
World Beater was 9-2 on the morning line, and that is Mott's son, right?
Riley, correct.
Riley's training that horse, yes. Okay, so that kind of looks like the way it'll shake out for that race. Then the Shawnee Stakes, a Grade 3, will be the 8th race on the card. This is at 1 mile and 16th, and this race, of course, will feature fillies and mares, and it's a field of 9 before any scratches. The morning line favorite resides on the rail. Where's My Ring? Luis Saez for Peter Miller at 5-2.
Well, this horse was entered, I think, 4 times over the last week or so, and she keeps being scratched. Is she going to finally really run here? She was entered on Monday, I think, in California. She was entered at Churchill last weekend. This is a looks like a barn switch for sure to Peter Miller from Val Brickenhoff. So that looks like somewhat of an upgrade. But again, is this horse going to run or not? If she runs, she looks like the horse to beat. If not, it's a wide open event.
Now, Pratt is riding for Brissett again in this race on a horse called Royal Spa that's 10-1 on the morning line. And all I can say is that Brad Cox does have a horse in this race. Alpine Princess gets the services of Florent Guru.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. And Hoosier Phillies in there. You know, she's had a nice career. She loves Churchill Downs. She's 3 for 5 there for Tom Amoss. She was highly regarded early in her career. It didn't quite pan out, but she's still $1 million earner. So plenty of ways to go.
Yeah, and Brendan Walsh has a nice solid filly in there, Jin Jin, who won her last race. Jose Ortiz aboard there. So it's going to be a good competitive race. And that is, of course, the Shawnee at 1 mile and 16th on the main track. Then the 9th race will be the Arlington Stakes, something that was came over and is now at Churchill from Arlington Park's old days there. A field of 9 there at 1 mile and 16th on the turf. And that, again, looks like a wide-open event. This is going to be a good competitive stakes race card on Saturday at Churchill. The morning line favorite there as well is 3-1, and that is Mercante with J.D. Ramos riding.
Well, you talk about horses for courses. Number 9, Brilliant Birdie. 4 starts at Churchill, 4 wins at Churchill. 3 starts at the distance, 2 wins at the distance. Brian Hernandez for Sherry DeVoe, number 9, Brilliant Birdie would be my top selection there.
Yeah, and it's a good race, that's for sure. Flavian Pratt will be riding for Steve Asmussen. Asmussen has 2 horses in the race. He's got Gigante and Leganos. And Leganos will get the services of Flavian Pratt. I think he's rode that horse before, but he's riding for Asmussen in there. And that horse is morning lined at 9-2.
And don't leave out Call Protection, the Mike Maker horse that Irad Ortiz is running. This horse ran huge last time out at Churchill. I actually overlooked that now. And that horse is really going to be my top selection, Call Protection. Oops, he's 8-1. Nothing wrong with that.
No problem. Keep that under your hat, though, buddy. In any case, the 10th race is the Blame Stakes. This is at 1 mile and 1/8. And for 4-year-olds and up, this, of course, is named after the horse that won the Breeders' Cup Classic in defeating Zenyatta, the only defeat that she ever had by a nose. And it was done, that Breeders' Cup was at Churchill Downs, I believe. So they name a race after that Breeders' Cup winner, and a field of 10 in that. And again, a wide open event. The morning line favorite, again, is set at 3-1, and that is post time. Sheldon Russell riding, of course, for his wife, Brittany. But the horse that I think will gain some attention in this race will be the 4-horse Mystic Dan. Mystic Dan, of course, is the Kentucky Derby winner from a couple of years ago. Kenny McPeek and Brian Hernandez again. He's listed at 4-1 here in this race. So it's going to be an interesting race. And an interesting horse that comes in from Southern California, and it's at 20-1 on the morning line, trained by Doug O'Neill, and that is Katona. Katona comes in for this spot at Churchill. What do you think about that?
Well, he's a little slow off the figures, to be honest with you. But listen, his last race he probably needed. It was also his first time away from Dubai. Ran in the Dubai World Cup 2 starts back. This is a tough race. I know one thing, Ralph. I want to play against Mystic Dan. Hopefully they really bet this horse. He hasn't won since the Derby, and he won that race by a nose. Last race he actually ran very well at Oaklawn, but it took him almost a year to the day to come back and run a big effort. So I'm against that horse. I kind of like the Brad Cox Most Wanted. Listen, the horse has 7 career starts, 4 wins, 3 seconds. So what has he really done wrong? He may slip through the cracks, and you may get somewhat of a price.
Well, I will say this, that Mystic Dan probably ran his best race of his entire career there at Churchill Downs when he won the Kentucky Derby, so that you got to keep in mind. But, you know, there's some other horses that are of interest in here. Safi Joseph Jr. that had a big weekend or a big day on Monday, Memorial Day, with his runners. He is sending out Alexander Helios. Alexander Helios gets Irad Ortiz Jr., who rode for him on Monday for those 2 stakes races there. He's 6-1 on the morning line. And another trainer from Northern California now that has horses in the in the Midwest there at Churchill Downs. Ed Moger Jr. has a horse called Best Actor, Rafael Bejarano riding, and that horse is 30 to 1.
Yeah, well, if you like him, I'm not going to talk you off him. He's 30 to 1. Listen, the race is loaded. Steve Asmussen sends out Hall of Fame, who has a legitimate shot.
Yeah.
Banishing is stretching back out to 1.1 miles for David Jacobson. I mean, it is a tough race. And the morning line favorite, Post Time, I don't know. He's not better than the rest of these. So that's why I like the race, because the favorites, in my opinion, Mystic Dan and Post Time, I think are vulnerable.
And, of course, Jacobson gets the services of Flavien Prat for Banishing, so you always have to take a double look at that. The next race, the 11th race, is the Regret, a Grade 3. This is at 1 1/8 on the turf, and this, of course, is for 3-year-old fillies. This race, of course, gets a field of 11 there, and the favorite on the morning line there at 5 to 2 is Classic Q, Jose Ortiz riding for Mark Casse.
She ran huge last time out, but she was on Lasix that day, and on Saturday she's going to be coming off of Lasix. So was it a Lasix race, or or is she just getting good? That's the $1 million question. If she runs anywhere near her last race, she will win this race easy.
Well, and you got trainer Rusty Arnold has got a couple of horses in the race, fixing to be, and totally justified. And then you've got your man, Brad Cox. He's got Fione, or Fione, I should say, and Florent Garreau riding that for him there. And let's see, Flavien Prat lambs on Brendan Walsh's trainee, Lush Lips. So, yes, it is going to be a wide-open affair there.
And that's Saturday's rundown from Churchill.
Yeah, and don't forget, Mike Maker has a 20 to 1 shot in the race there as well, an Irish bred. So we'll wait and see about that. But yes, it's going to be a fun day of racing. That 11th race, by the way, is the final. There'll be 11 races at Churchill on Saturday, and it's going to be a lot of fun while we wait for the big week coming up, the Belmont Festival at Saratoga. It's a good time of year to play the races. I mean, there's going to be a lot of good quality horses running in stakes races for the next 2 weekends. And trust me when I tell you, there's not going to be an overwhelming favorite in any one of them.
Well, Wednesday is opening day at the Saratoga Festival meet, and they are going to draw Wednesday's card this afternoon. So people that have horses that are entered are all excited and can't wait for the first draw. They're only drawing Wednesday today, but at least it's the New York bred day, and should be a lot of fun. Let's see what happens.
Well, yes, that's for sure. And before we get started with that, looking ahead to this weekend and beyond, we got to build a bankroll. So what are we doing today?
All right, so let's go to Church. Well, actually, we'll go to Gulfstream first and look at the 7th race today. It's 5.5 furlongs on the Tapeta. And the number 5 horse in here, Valiant Hope, a 3-year-old filly from the Eddie Pleaser barn. Rider switch today to Lionel Reyes. This horse ran super in her last start. First race, she had an excuse. She was breaking from the rail that day. She drew a better post last time, and she ran well. She's listed at 5 to 1 on the morning line. Graduation day for number 5, Valiant Hope, in today's 7th race out at Gulfstream.
All right. In the 7th race, number 5, Valiant Hope, is your play at Gulfstream Park today. 7th race, the 5. And I would imagine we'll take something at Churchill.
4th race today at Churchill. Well, tonight at Churchill, I guess. Well, midday for you. 4th race is 1.16 on the turf, and I like the number 9 horse in here, Sassy Princess. I like the rider switch to Louis Saez. I think this horse is going to work out a terrific trip here. I think she's going to get first run. She's listed at 4 to 1 on the morning line. I like number 9, Sassy Princess, to win today's 4th race out at Churchill Downs.
All right, that's part of the early pick 4 and early pick 5, and certainly part of the pick 6 as well, with only 8 races. A pivotal race, the 4th race, which is about 3:30 our time, 6:30 your time. But in the 4th race, you like the 9, Sassy Princess, the 9 with Saez aboard in the 4th at Churchill. And you do have full sheets for today at Churchill and Gulfstream Park, right?
JONHJRDOON.com. Thank you, Ralph. Stay safe, be well, and we'll talk tomorrow.
And you stay well as well, my man. That's for sure.
Thank
Thanks a lot, Jonathan. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Okay, that wraps up our quick thumbnail look at what's going on at Churchill on a big Saturday of racing there. And as you can see, more preparations. They continue with the workouts in the mornings at the racetracks around the country. We'll be back with Rich Eng. Don't go away.
Here we are in Houston, opening up our first veteran village. This beautiful building that's going to house 161 homeless veterans. Any veteran that risked their lives and are struggling with PTSD, mental illness, addiction. We're also building what I call comfort homes, 500 square foot homes. These are for older homeless veterans, so they have their own space, and give them back some of their dignity, some of their independence, and most certainly give them back their life. Go to T2T.org to learn how you can change a veteran's life forever.
South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rockin' dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby.
All right, back on Race Day Las Vegas, it's time to go out and visit with Rich Eng. Richie, good morning.
Coffee, good morning, viewers. Good morning, listeners.
Well, Richie, it's kind of slim pickings right now because Southern California don't kick in till tomorrow. And, of course, we've got New York racing that's on the shelf until Wednesday. But when it starts back on Wednesday at Saratoga, it's going to be one hell of a week of great racing there for the Belmont Racing Festival. But looking at some of the races at Churchill Downs on Saturday, as we did previously with Jonathan Hardoon, I think it's going to be a pretty neat day of racing out at Churchill Downs this weekend.
Yeah, when you get a stack full of stakes races like that, that's always a fun card. I'm going to have to re-listen to all of Jonathan's suggestions because I didn't have a chance to write all the horses down, and I like to because Jonathan's opinion means an awful lot to me. It should mean an awful lot to the listeners out there. So I got to catch up on that. No New York racing this week, but when they start up at Saratoga on Wednesday, just a note, I know nobody has asked on the chatters yet, but just to keep in mind, the Belmont Stakes will be drawn on Monday, Ralph, on Monday. So I don't know if it's going to be done in the morning or the afternoon or the evening. Sometimes every once in a while they do it like in a fancy restaurant in Manhattan or something like that. But Monday, Belmont Stakes draw.
I know that it hasn't been asked yet, but somebody might ask out there since they are offering this Epsom Derby Belmont Stakes double. One wonders if there's going to be any past performances in the daily racing form for that bet, the Epsom Derby past performances.
Well, I can almost guarantee the Epsom Derby PPs will be available because it's a bet offered. But again, a question that has not been asked yet, but I can answer it, is that there is not going to be a Belmont Park advance. There's, like the Derby, we're just not going to be able to turn that around. So the Belmont past performances will be available on Friday morning, where you can get your daily racing form.
Okay, I think your partner there wants to eat something this morning, so we'll get right to we'll get right to the pick for today.
I tell you what, Ralph, I am dog sitting 2 other dogs. I've got 3 dogs in the house, and they're having an argument over something. So I apologize for that.
Okay, Kennel Man, let's do it.
I'm a busy camper.
Yeah.
We had a nice winter yesterday. We found an acorn at Presque Isle Downs, grounded one and paid $540. Today, let's go to Woodbine, Ralph, race number 6. And trainer Marty Drexler has 4 horses in on the card today, and he is live in every single one of those races. So I think 4 of those races go through him. The horse that I will go with for the radio is the number 5, Priceless Will. Sahin Savachi riding for Drexler. This horse ran the first time off a 5-month layoff last time. Looked like a short horse, and I put this horse on my stable mail. But this horse at 7 furlongs, good form. These are his friends at the class condition. I think he runs a much better race today. 5, Priceless Will in the 6th.
All right, 6th race at Woodbine, number 5, Priceless Will. The 5, Priceless Will in the 6th race at Woodbine is your play today. And we'll let you go ahead and break up the big argument there. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks, Rob. Good luck, everybody.
All righty. And we'll be right back with John Lindo and Jerry Jackowitz, so don't go away.
South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style Paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
This is the best sports betting network.
I would argue it is a total mismatch.
There's value with underdog prices in series.
I would lean to the under here.
My numbers are saying I got to bet the Tigers. Two-way action. When in doubt, we juice that favorite, that extra nickel.
Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
Forget about it. The best.
The Race Day Las Vegas Show, the only exclusive daily local media racing information source in Las Vegas.
And we are back on Race Day Las Vegas for this almost Friday, Thursday show. And now we go out to John Lindo in Southern California. John, good morning.
Good morning, Ralph. How you doing?
Doing fine, my man. What's up in SoCal?
Oh, a little overcast, a little cool this morning. It'll burn off. We're getting that June gloom a little bit early, but it'll be a nice day. And looking forward to getting back to racing tomorrow. Just the 3-day weeks are a little quiet, actually, this week.
Now, did we find out if there's going to be 2 or just 1 extra Thursday added to the Santa Anita calendar?
I did not get an answer back from Santa Anita yesterday, Ralph. So at this point, I know there'll be that Thursday, the final weekend of the 12th, I think it is.
Uh-huh.
I do not know about Thursday, June 5th yet.
Well, maybe they needed the extra day off after working on Monday. Anyhow, in any case, coming up this weekend, Churchill Downs has a big day of racing on Saturday. I know you've got a Lindo report for today at Churchill Downs covering all 8 races at Churchill. Of course, suggested late pick 4. And, of course, all the goodie information that includes the update in the jockey trainer standings that we'll get to in just a moment. But that Lindo report, the full Lindo report, is available right now here at the South Point Racebook and only here at the South Point Racebook in your gaming capital, Las Vegas. And it is free of charge to the horse players here because they love horse players here. That's the simplest put. So every one of the Lindo reports that come out, whatever racetrack it is in, how many per day, it doesn't matter. They're all here, complimentary from the South Point. And as I say, each and every week when you start out a Lindo report at a particular racetrack, you usually give everybody a barometer of what's been going on at that track by giving them the leaders in both the jockey and trainer standings. So we'll do that for Churchill right now.
At Churchill Downs, Jose Ortiz, the leading jockey, he's got 31 wins. Luis Saez, a clear second, he's got 27. And way back to 12 wins for Edgar Morales. He's in 3rd place. As far as the trainers go, Joe Sharp's been the leader from the start. He's got 11 wins at the meet. Mark Cassie's got 7. And then you have Brad Cox and Eddie Keneally. They've each got 4 winners. And Ralph, I found this stat interesting. Steve Asmussen, 70 starters at Churchill Downs, just 3 winners. That's 4% for the meet.
Well, if Steve Asmussen only has 3 winners, that means his son Keith has got to be batting the same type of batting average there.
Right. Keith rides a lot of that barn. He's 0 for 27 at Churchill Downs so far.
Well, they'll get it. They'll get it together sooner or later, and they're too good for that type of stat to hold. What about the favorites?
Favorites are holding steady right at 42% for the meet so far.
Okay. Anything that you've noticed at Churchill? I know that most of the racetracks that everybody talks about is usually until you can find a definite, a definite track bias. Usually, it'll favor more towards speeds than closers. Is that the case at Churchill?
To me, it's been pretty fair. There's actually been a couple of days where you want to come down the outside, down the crown of that racetrack. But in general, it's been pretty fair. The turf course is in really good shape, and you can win from anywhere on the grass course. You go too fast, they're going to pick you up from behind. They leave you alone. You go wire to wire. To me, you're just trying to find the best horse in each surface.
Well, John, as Richie said on the segment before, they are going to draw for the Belmont Stakes on Monday. And so that tick, 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 tick time that's moving along, the trainer is going to have to decide what they want to do with the journalism by Monday.
Well, Michael McCarthy's going out to Saratoga this weekend, and I'm sure at that time he'll go ahead and work that horse and get an idea of where they're at, and they'll decide at that point what they do. So keep an eye out for a workout from journalism this weekend at Saratoga.
Okay. Well, we're all betting people. If you would bet today, what do you think? He's going or not?
I think he's running. I haven't heard anything negative. He's training regularly, and he seems to handle everything pretty well. So,
and then
at this
some.
point, I haven't heard anything to say. Well, maybe there's a reason he won't run.
I got to tell you, you're saying he handles everything well, and then some. If he doesn't handle it well, he'll make his room and handle it. That's for sure. That's going to be interesting. It will be an interesting dynamic, though, because we don't have a horse going for the Triple Crown this year. But I guess the second best thing would be a rubber match, and you got the winner of the Derby, you got the winner of the Preakness, and it should be, I guess, the settlement for the Triple Crown races would be the Belmont Stakes. But then you got that X factor, Baeza, that's been sitting out there. Look, he finished 3rd in the Derby, so they're going to get the first 3 finishers for the Kentucky Derby if journalism goes. And I got to tell you, there could be 3 different winners in all 3 races for this year's Triple Crown this year.
Well, that's because there's 3 really good horses this year. It's a good crop of 3-year-olds, and it's going to be an interesting summer. Let's hope they all stay sound, because I think we'll see these horses going up against each other through the rest of the year.
Yeah, and of course that Met Mile is going to be a huge race with the field that they've got assembled for that.
Well, White Up Barrio and Fierceness. So you take those 2 right at the top of the list, and you see who might come out of that Churchill Downs Stakes that was won by Mindframe. I don't think he's going to run against a stablemate, but we'll see who shakes out. But that Met Mile is always a fun race.
It's going to be fun racing all week long, because they do really stack up a lot of stakes races for that week at Saratoga. And it makes sense because, if you're part of the racing community in New York, you're in the city at Aqueduct and Belmont, training at Belmont, but racing at Aqueduct. And then you have to kind of uproot yourself and go upstate New York to Saratoga. And just to go up there to run maybe for the Belmont Stakes and maybe a couple of undercard stakes races it takes a lot on the behalf of the horsemen to do that. But when you're going up there with all those great stakes races aboard, it's like going to the Breeders' Cup for the weekend.
Well, yeah, and it really kind of signals New York racing for the summertime, and you have the turf horses that have been getting on the grass now for just probably less than a month. They've all got a race in, and you're going to get the good quality horses coming back from Florida. They kind of put it all together for this festival this week, and I'm looking forward to that, and I'm sure the horsemen are looking forward to it, and they go to Saratoga, which everybody likes, so it just kind of announces that they're back in action full-time in New York.
Let's hope Mother Nature is a friend, too. Okay, you got a pick for us today at Churchill?
Yeah, let's go to race number 6 at Churchill Downs. A Louisiana bred, number 6, Paris Sox, took on Open Company and older horses and just destroyed a field at Keeneland. I don't know where that effort came from, won it for fun, and now in a spot where the horse cannot be claimed. Mm-hmm. If he runs two alike, he's going to be awful tough to beat. I don't know if he will, but based on what I saw, they didn't empty the tank in that last win. So 5-1 on the morning line. Let's see if number 6, Pair of Socks, can come right back in race 6 at Churchill Downs.
All right, let's get the winner of the 6th race, number 6, Pair of Socks. Pair of Socks, the 6th at Churchill is John Lindo's pick, and don't forget the Lindo report for Churchill today at the South Point here. Hey, thanks a lot, John. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay, good luck today.
All right, we're going to go to Jerry Jackowitz and give him a whole minute to talk about whatever he wants to. So, Jerry, go.
I really don't have a lot to talk about. But
that's what I figured. That's why we only gave you a minute.
No, that's fine. Just a reminder to everybody that we're going up to Saratoga starting on June 4th for the festival, and that's where the Belmont Stakes will be run, and then they'll come back to Aqueduct for the balance of the Belmont meet, and then they'll go back up to Saratoga.
Now, let me ask you personally, Jerry, though, you're going on your month vacation on June 4th, right?
June 8th.
Oh, June 8th. So you will be here during the Belmont week. That's good, because we're gonna
for the 4th, 5th, 6th. Yeah, the 4th through the 8th, I think I'll be here, and then I'm leaving.
Good enough. I'm glad that you will be with us for that big week, the Belmont Festival week at Saratoga.
And, it's a great week of racing for sure.
Yeah, and Power Pages are a good part of looking for winners at Saratoga, that's for sure. And your Power Pages for Santa Anita as well. You do both those tracks, and the Power Pages will continue, even though you'll be on vacation. The Power Page Plus won't, but the Power Pages will for the tracks that you cover, right?
Perfectly, yes, correct.
All right. So as we wrap up this Almost Friday Thursday, you had a very valuable minute there with a lot of good information. But there's only one more thing that you got to say, and you know what it is. So go ahead and say it, Jerry.
Have a great race day, everybody.